Hi everyone, my name is Ash and today I'm going to be breaking down how to teach a palm spin and a wall spin to your gymnasts. So the first thing we're going to do is look at teaching the gymnasts how to do a palm spin. Now the palm spin is a horizontal version of a wall spin, which is vertical where you go upside down. Now what we need to make sure before we start looking at the technical aspects is that the gymnast is strong enough to take the weight through their arms and their shoulders of their own body. So we can do a simple exercise before getting started on the actual palm spin, where the gymnast is going to put their hands onto the block and they can jump and do small bunny hops over a surface to show that they're strong enough over and to the left and to right of the block. Perfect. So once the gymnast has shown you that they're strong enough and they can do this and keep their arms straight and take the weight through their shoulders, then you know it's safe enough to start them on a palm spin. So moving on to the first technical part of learning a palm spin, we're going to introduce the gymnast to a corner spin. Now a corner spin is essentially taking away half of the block so they don't have to move as much of their body round and over the top, so it's a little bit easier for them to start off with. Now the first thing to do is to make sure that the gymnast's hand is on the side of the block or the mat and the other hand is on the actual surface. Now from there, the gymnast can walk their feet round, complete a whole 180 turn and then finish facing back the way that they started. Once they've done this walking, so they've walked themselves round and they can face the other way, we can introduce half a jump. So the gymnast can jump halfway to the mat, then complete the second jump halfway and start looking back at the way that they came. Once they've completed this in 2 jump-in phases, we can then move them on to trying the whole corner spin. So one hand's going to go on the edge of the block, one hand's going to go on top of the block. They're going to jump, complete a complete half turn, so they're facing back the way they started, completing a full corner spin. Now once they understand how to do this on a low surface, we can then start to increase the height of the surfaces and make sure they practice getting their repetitions in until they can complete it on a surface which is about hip height. So once the gymnast has completed all of the corner spin tasks, it's now time to get them to do this on a complete straight line. So we're looking at not doing it across a corner now and doing it across a straight line surface, which makes it a little bit harder for them to get their hips all the way round back to the beginning. So I would suggest we take exactly the same stages. We do it walking round first so they understand where they're going to start looking, where their hands need to be, and then come back round to face the other way. After that, we should introduce half a hop, so quarter jump to the middle, quarter jump to the end, facing back the other way. Then after that, we should get the hands staying in the same place, but they should jump all the way from the start, round to the end, taking their hand off with that pressure on one arm and looking back at the end the way that they came. Once they've done this on a low surface, we should then start to build this up onto higher surfaces so they can complete the full palm spin and then get ready to move on to learning a wall spin. So now the gymnast has done their corner spin, done their palm spin, it's time to start moving them on to learning a wall spin. Now the way we're going to do this is by starting on a slanted wall, which will then gradually move up into a complete vertical wall. The first thing we're going to ask the gymnast to do is put one hand on the floor, one hand on the wall, and they're going to jump their feet round, very similar to what they were doing with their palm spin, and they're going to start facing forwards, jump their feet round, and finish facing back the way that they came. Once they've done this and they're safe and they understand the movement, we can then ask the gymnast to take both hands, place them onto the wall and repeat the same action. I would advise that you put a nice crash mat underneath for them to start, and both their hands should be quite low down the wall. Once they feel confident in doing this motion, we can start to ask the gymnast to move their hands further up the slanted wall as they get more confident. Once they've done this, we can then start to incline the wall more and more until they're up to that vertical place where they can do a full wall spin. Now, it is also possible for coaches to get involved and support the gymnast in the early stages all the way through to a vertical wall spin, and I can show you this in some of the clips coming up. So just a quick recap on a wall spin. Make sure that when you start with the corner spins, which are nice and low on the floor. Remember to get them to walk round, hop round, and then complete the full skill. Then move on to the palm spins on a horizontal wall, a horizontal surface, making sure they practice the same thing all the way round. Then moving it from a palm spin, when you start looking at wall spins, make sure you start on a slanted wall with their hand on the floor first, moving their way up the wall and slowly, gradually moving it until it's a vertical wall. Don't forget to support the gymnast if they need help all the way through learning the skill. If you follow these steps and stages, you should be able to take your gymnast from learning bunny hops on the floor, taking their body weight, all the way up to learning a wall spin on a vertical wall.